Hi there, welcome to one of the videos in the series of Cook with Sans. It's a series of videos to share with you my knowledge of cooking, and particularly trying to cook nutritional meals on a tight budget, and to provide information both on the ingredients and the cooking techniques, but also on the different nutrients and benefits of different elements of the recipe and the ingredients. So we'll make a start, and today's recipe is going to be a simple salmon, potato and vegetable dish. And again, as I'm hoping to do in each of the videos in this series, also adding in some extra tips and ideas about how to make the recipe a little bit more interesting or a little bit more tasty. Yes, so today we've got quite a straightforward salmon and vegetable meal, and this is a really good basic recipe for incorporating all of the different nutrients that are really beneficial to have in one particular meal. So you've got your salmon. So your salmon is a really good source of protein, a really good healthy lean protein. It's also one of the oily fish, so it's really good for your healthy fats that your body needs to function properly. In particular, it's really good for your brain function in terms of making sure that you can focus and can concentrate. Also regulates your mood. It's also very good for hormone regulation and function, and also good for your hair and skin and nails, for example. So in addition to the fish, we've also got some potatoes. Now potatoes are again a really good source of carbohydrates and fibre. They're high in vitamin C, they're a good source of potassium, which is good for your heart health, and also a good source of vitamin B6, which is good for your blood and red blood cells. Incidentally, salmon's also got is high in some of the B vitamins as well, which are again a really important nutrient. With potatoes, where you can, it's really helpful to eat them with the skins on. I mean, baked potatoes you obviously can have with the skins on, but even cooking like these small potatoes, you can cook them with the skins on and eat them with the skins, and you really pack a much higher punch in terms of the nutrient value if you do that. And then with all your meals, you really should be trying to incorporate at least one type of vegetable. You can never eat too many vegetables, so the more the merrier when it comes to vegetables. Broccoli is a really easy vegetable to prepare, and it's very quick to cook. And it's also one of the superfoods because it's really packed with a very high concentration of nutrients and minerals and vitamins in even a small portion. Carrots similarly got a really good combination of vitamins and nutrients, and particularly, for example, vitamin A, which is a really powerful what's called antioxidant, which is sort of has a very positive effect on your body. And vitamin A is really good for your eye health as well as other key functions in the body. If you're cooking along, pause the video now and you can get yourself organised for making a start with the recipe. So with all of the recipes in this series, I'm also going to say what the sort of store cupboard essentials are that would be good to have in, and which ones you'll need for this particular recipe. So you'll need some sort of oil. This is a sort of light olive oil. You'll need salt and pepper, and that's pretty standard, as you know, for most meals, just to give it that oomph and that sort of rounded sort of flavour to make it obviously a lot more palatable. So, as with all the videos, I'm going to also try and say which additional ingredients you might want to use if you've got them in, or if you're buying the ingredients for this recipe and you think, do you know what, I really fancy including that in the recipe. And I've spread them out here on this board, so you can see that it's a sort of either or a combination of them depending on, you know, what your particular circumstances are. So a really nice addition, of course, with fish is always some sort of lemon, would be ideal. Similarly, if you do have some butter or you'd like to get some for this recipe and then use it in loads of other recipes, it goes a long way, even though it's quite expensive. Tomatoes are great. You can cook tomatoes either in a pan, in the oven or in the microwave, and because of the juice inside them, you will get a nice sort of sauce and a little bit of moisture to have with the fish. You might have something in like one of these marinades, like this is a peri marinade. Again, brilliant with anything, with chicken, with fish, etc. So you can put that on while you're cooking, or you can put it on afterwards. And again, you can warm it up in the microwave or in a pan, or put it in the oven with the tomatoes in a little pot. And finally, another option would be something like soya sauce and or with some sort of chili as well. So really anything that you've got in, or while you're buying your greens that you think, do you know what, that'll just add a little bit of texture and a little bit of moisture to the dish, really makes a difference and makes the dish sort of go to the next level. So yeah, the easiest way usually to cook your potatoes and vegetables would be just in a pan of water. For these small potatoes, you're probably looking at about between 20 and 30 minutes. So, you know, sort of start checking them after 20 minutes and just, you know, testing them with a knife or a fork. And you just need obviously a little bit of salt in there. I've already put it in so far. And when you get to about, I'd say probably with about maybe 7 or 8 minutes to go, you can then put your other vegetables in the same pan with the potatoes, and again you can just keep checking those to make sure that they're just how you like them. Some people like them more cooked than others. So that's basically how you can do your veg. So then with the salmon, again you want a little bit of you know, salt and pepper to, you know, whatever your preference is. And then again there's 2 or 3 ways that you can cook salmon. Probably the 2 main ways would be to wrap it in some tin foil. If you've got a bit of oil or a bit of butter, a bit of margarine, you can also put a little bit of that on. If you fancy a bit of chilli or some sort of, you know, marinade that you might have one of those, you know, sort of jars I showed you before, then anything like that you can put on at this stage, either wrapped in tin foil in the oven, something like 180, 200 degrees for about 20 minutes. And the other way you can do it, which is really quick and you can do it straight from frozen, is again a bit of salt and pepper, any sort of flavourings that you want on there, a squeeze of lemon maybe, cover it over, and then you can just put it in the microwave for anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes depending on the size. If you check it after a couple of minutes and then just keep putting it on a minute at a time, up to sort of 3 or 4 minutes, and that's the easiest way to cook salmon, and it's done really quickly. If you do have some cherry tomatoes, or you decided to get some just for the recipe, then again there's 2 or 3 ways that you can cook them. It's always quite good to spike them with a knife so that they don't explode. But you can, again, you could warm them through in the microwave. You could, if you've got a frying pan, you could always just warm them through in a frying pan. Or if you're going to use the oven either for the salmon or the potatoes or both, you can actually put all of those things in the oven together. The potatoes probably would go in a little bit earlier because they're 25 to 30 minutes. Your salmon is going to take 20 minutes, and then your tomatoes probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 up to 10 minutes. So you can just sort of time those and put them in as you're going along, and then they'll all be together ready at the same time. And I didn't mention before, of course, that tomatoes are a really good source of nutrients and vitamins, and particularly vitamin C, which is very good for overall health, and particularly, for example, your immune system. So a really helpful tip is when you're preparing a meal to actually just note down the different stages, particularly if you're new to cooking, and just to give you a little bit of confidence. And so here, for example, I don't know if you can see it because of how the light's reflecting on it, but it's basically saying, you know, that 6 o'clock, if you're cooking them in the oven, put your spuds in the oven because they're going to take about half an hour. And then at 6:10, put your salmon in the oven because that's going to take about 20 minutes. At 20 past, put the tomatoes in the oven because they're going to take about 10 minutes. and then at 6, put your broccoli either in a pan or in the microwave, because that's going to take about 5 minutes. So then everything then comes together at 6:30, and you've got your sort of plan of action set out on a piece of paper. So if you do decide to get into cooking, and you're also really keen on getting the real sort of maximum nutrients out of food, a really good thing to invest in is one of these steamers, which is basically, you know, from the Chinese supermarkets, but you can get them online, of course, through Amazon, etc. There are other sites, of course, not just Amazon. And so you basically, you can see it's got holes in the bottom, and if you're just cooking potatoes in a pan, you can basically just stick that on top of the potatoes towards the end of the time. So, you know, in this case, you know, maybe for the last, again, 7 or 8 minutes for these broccoli and carrots, depending on how you like them. And these, you can get these for a few pounds, and they're really healthy because none of the nutrients obviously go into the water when they're cooking, and it also gives them a really nice fresh flavour. You know, it doesn't lose any of the flavour into the water either. So if you do get into cooking, you know, a few pounds, and it's a really good investment. So as you can see here, I decided to do the cherry tomatoes in the oven. They've just been actually under the grill, those, for about 10 minutes, maybe a bit less. But equally, you could do them just in the oven on, again, 180 degrees for about 10 minutes. And as you can see, the salmon here, yeah, I've just done the salmon in the microwave. These are quite small pieces of salmon, so this is 2 portions, obviously, here. And that's been in for 2 minutes, and as you can see, they're more or less done. Maybe just need another 30 seconds in the microwave, with the lid on, of course. So I'll just finish those off, and then they're done. So as you can see here, we've got the salmon, which was done in the microwave. Actually, for 2 pieces, it was only 2.5 minutes. So if you've only got 1 piece, obviously just try it a minute at a time. The tomatoes that were cooked under the grill or in the oven for 10 minutes. The spuds, I've actually cut them in half just to serve them up, but they were about 25 minutes in boiling water. And then the broccoli and carrots, about 7 or 8 minutes either in the water with the potatoes, or I did actually use that steamer that I mentioned earlier. And then to finish it off, I've put a little bit of either oil or butter on there. I've got a little bit of lemon, so I'm just going to do a bit of a squeeze of lemon, which is always really nice with fish. And then I've also heated up some of that peri sauce. Oops, that's not meant to happen. And I'm just going to pour this over, just again to give it that little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra flavour. And as they do on the MasterChef on the telly, just wiping the plate nice and clean.